Normally, I introduce myself as, my name's Dakota Dockins, and I'm a hunting guide and an outfitter. But the most important thing that I'll ever do, or have ever done, and this is including having my children and being married and my sobriety, most important thing I ever did was give my life to Christ. A little bit about me. I am a suicide survivor. And in my darkest moments, when I thought that God wasn't listening and I didn't think He was there, was the time that He spoke to me the most soft but just booming way that He could. And a little backstory, my wife and I used to fight and argue a lot when I drank, which was every day. I was a case of beer a day drinker for years, and I wasn't dealing with any of the stuff that I had brought on myself and wouldn't give up to God, and the way that I did that was with alcohol. And so one night we were fighting, we were arguing. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'll never forget it. I grabbed my AR and said, I'm done. I didn't say anything else. I just walked out the door, and we weren't at our house. So once you walk out the back porch, the light ends at about 50 yards outside the back of the door. And so I had walked out there not knowing what my intentions were, just kind of on autopilot. And of course I was intoxicated. I wasn't hammered to where I couldn't walk or anything, but that's irrelevant. So I remember just having this thought of, well, if I can go just outside the light, then I'm not far away and she can find me tomorrow. And I'd never been to the point where I was going to follow through with any of the feelings or the thoughts that I had of suicide, but this night I'd had enough and I'd reached my breaking point. And so I went out into the darkness and I sat at the base of this big oak tree and I assumed the position, and I was sitting there, and it was just like this overwhelming emotion, but it wasn't visible. Like, I wasn't crying, I wasn't shaking, but I could feel just the inside of me just tearing itself apart. And this voice spoke to me, and I knew it was God. I've been raised in church my whole life, so I knew what the Holy Spirit sounded like. It had just been a long time since I heard it, so it kind of caught me off guard. And something just told me to point the rifle out into the pasture and send a round. And I did. And at the time, I was given what I later described as the greatest gift that I think I could have been given in that moment. And that was my wife screaming because she had thought that I had killed myself. And I try not to get emotional about this, but I will, because it's extremely, I just feel the Holy Spirit so much whenever I talk about this. And my wife just started screaming. And I didn't know that she had followed me out the door. And I got up and I realized that I heard what people who go through the darkness and don't come out, what they don't get to hear, and that's what your loved ones do when they find you. And so I was given a glimmer of hope then, and I wouldn't get sober for another 6 months after that. But God was still working in me, even though I was in this just dark, depressive state. And I woke up on a Monday, hungover, on my couch without a job. My wife was working. And God said, He said, if you don't quit, you're going to lose your wife, you're going to lose your house, and you're going to lose your life, in that order. There's no other way that this goes for you. That's it. And I called my wife and I said, don't bring any beer home. That's it, I'm done. And so about 3 days later, we went to Texas Roadhouse, and I grabbed the beer menu out of habit, and my wife told me, she said, you've been doing good. It's been 3 days. Have a beer. You deserve it. And in my mind, I heard, how bad am I that 3 days is good? And I said, I'll never touch it again. In the darkest part of my life, when I felt I had nothing, God was still there with me. He was still breathing life into me, even when I didn't think I was worthy to have life myself. Even when you don't feel like there's any life left in you, and you feel like you're just drained and you're not useful and you're just dust, God will breathe life back into you in ways that you never could have imagined. And He'll bring you out of that darkness. And when I dropped that, when my wife screamed and I stood up and and I came out of the darkness. I dropped the rifle as I did and stepped back into the light. And it's a beautiful metaphor to me because although I had put myself in that dark spot, I had succumbed to the sin and the ways of this world and the cultures that we're told are normal. One thing always remains is that God is the light in the darkness. And all you have to do is follow him out of it. Even though we put ourselves there, he's always there with you. And he's got a roadmap for you here. Is that no matter how dark, whether you think you're just dust, you think there's nothing left of you to give, God's got a purpose for you. You know, he called you by name. He knows every hair that's on your head. He knows everything that you've done, every thought you've had. He knows all of it, and he still chooses you. It's something like I felt like I needed to share.